Just don't touch any other memories until we figure out what's going on.
Okay, something's wrong with me. It's like I'm having a breakdown.
You're not having a breakdown. It's stress.
Yes. As you've seen, Joy leads the rest of the emotions, and they listen to her. Well, until now. Because you see, Joy did everything, and I mean everything she humanly could to not let sadness in charge, but emotional suppression has this nasty little habit of taking its time before it explodes in your face. That's why sadness mentions a breakdown, because emotional suppression leads to breakdowns. The ability of sadness to disobey is most probably related to the concept of emotional flooding, when suppressed emotions rise intensely because they haven't been processed, they haven't been given attention or thought. And this happens when Joy can no longer control sadness, who now pushes through as a necessary part of Riley's emotional adaptation during this stressful change.
There's always a way to turn things around, to find the fun.
Find the
I
fun.
don't know how to do that.
Okay.
Because she's sadness.
Well, try to think of something funny. What about that time with Meg when Riley laughed so hard milk came out of her nose?
Yeah, that hurt. It felt like fire.
Okay, don't think of that.
Yeah,
Let's do
emotions
something
have
else.
different perspectives,
What are
you
your favorite
see,
things to
as
do?
they should.
Like that time
I love how
with
they're
Barry,
trying to
Dad,
find
and
things
Santa.
in common,
Thinking more
but
like
you know, the
Riley.
only thing in common is that they're Riley's emotions. They're supposed to be different.
Why are you crying?
Because she's
This
sadness.
is really the opposite of what we're going for here.
Yeah, it's always the
Slow
opposite of
down
what you're
and
going
obsess
for.
over the weight of life's problems.
Now, this is called functional theory of emotions, which suggests that each emotion has evolved to handle specific challenges and promote adaptive behavior, and that's why they have such different perspectives. Joy focuses on positive, uplifting moments, while sadness sees the discomfort or pain in the same memories. And, you know, it's all great, but the insistence of Joy in changing sadness's perspective can give you an idea of how repressed sadness really is.
Read this one? This seems interesting. Long-term memory retrieval, volume 47.
No.
Ooh, a real page turner.
This is infantilization at its finest, by the way. She's a bit worried, it seems, but no one is acknowledging it.
Look, I get it. You guys have concerns, but we've been through worse.
No, you haven't been through worse.
Our room stinks.
Pizza is weird here.
Friends are back home.
And all of our stuff is in the missing van.
Can we be
Come on,
sad
it
now?
could be worse.
Yeah, Joy. We could be lying on the dirty floor in a bag.
Which we are.
Hi, honey. Still no moving van. Now they're saying it won't be here till Tuesday.
Okay, so you come in and you immediately hit her with problems.
On the phone.
Great. So she's about to get angry, but now
Say is thank you. All this confusion, you've stayed.
the magic words.
Well, you've stayed our happy girl.
See, it's the parents that want Joy in control, and that's why Joy is such a control freak. Okay, by now you probably noticed that Joy is rather controlling, and her need to keep Riley happy reflects how Riley feels responsible for her parents' emotions. So Riley knows that her parents are stressed from the move, obviously, so she tries to stay positive to avoid adding to their burden. That shouldn't be her responsibility, but this also creates a feedback loop where Joy, as Riley's primary emotion, takes on the role of suppressing anything that could disrupt that happiness. And just like that, we've created parentification, when children take on emotional responsibilities that should belong to the parents. Riley feels pressure to be the happy child, so Joy becomes hyper-focused on maintaining that image more than ever, to the point that she might become destructive or delusional. Okay, this is how we start.
I was up late last night figuring out a new plan. Here
Girl, you're giving me
I need to list
anxiety.
I have a super important job just for you.
No, not the circle.
And there. Perfect. This is the circle of sadness. Your job is to make sure that all the sadness stays inside of it.
Joy, do you hear yourself? Did you recognize it? This is toxic positivity. A masterclass in it, actually. Joy is so obsessed with keeping everything positive that she basically just tells sadness, hey, you're not allowed to exist in this space. And honestly, that's how a lot of us operate, especially when things get tough. We shove our negative emotions into a corner thinking, nope, no time for sadness, let's just keep smiling. But that's why Joy is so controlling, because she's a people pleaser, and by extension, Riley. Actually, she's a parent pleaser. I'm sorry for that bad joke. But here's the thing with people pleasers. They try to keep everything smooth, yes, but at the cost of their authenticity.
Just make sure that all the sadness stays in the circle. See, you're a pro at this. Isn't as fun.
No, not at all. I find this a subtle but powerful commentary on how emotions in kids are often managed rather than understood. Take Riley's parents, for instance. They're so busy praising her for being their happy little kid that somehow they end up indirectly infantilizing her, essentially saying, "We're the adults, we deal with the heavy stuff. You just focus on staying happy." And this dynamic reflects how Joy treats sadness in the movie. Joy wants to keep everything simple and manageable, just like Riley's parents want her to be emotionally straightforward and easy. Both Joy and Riley's parents seem to be operating under the belief that letting sadness or complexity into the mix would just make things harder. So instead of letting Riley or sadness experience and process these deeper emotions, they're pushed aside as if they're too immature or disruptive to be trusted.
I have a new student in class today. Are you kidding me?
We go out on the lake almost every weekend till I moved away.
Hey, what gift? Hey, Sadness, you touched a memory? We talked about this.
We used to play tag and
She cannot
stuff.
keep it
Cool
in
Kids was
anymore.
playing at 3 o'clock.
You cannot keep sadness in a goddamn circle, okay? That is ridiculous,
Somebody help me.
even for Joy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Stop apologizing, please.
It's a core memory.
But it's blue.
I think Riley is experiencing nostalgia here, where recalling happy memories can evoke sadness because they remind us of what we no longer have. It's not just that the memory has changed, it's that Riley has changed, or she's in the midst of that change. Her emotional landscape has shifted because of the move, and what was once a purely happy memory now feels tinged with loss. This is grief, grieving not just people or places, but the version of herself tied to that memory. And this is why this becomes a core memory, because this marks the beginning of ego restructuring, commonly known as ego death in the spiritual communities. Riley's old emotional framework, led by Joy, is breaking down. Joy cannot regain control anymore. Riley's emotional world is evolving, and it's becoming clear that just sheer happiness is no longer a viable emotional strategy. It might be confusing, but as Riley begins to process complex emotions and mature as well, she'll have to mourn the loss of the simpler version of herself. Joy, stop it! You cannot control every aspect, every moment, every second of her life, every memory. Joy, stop!
Joy, no. That's a core memory. Core memories.
Oh my god, Joy, you're making this 1,000% worse! Joy is really a control freak, guys. Like, wow. Joy! Well, crap. Now, by trying to keep sadness out of the core memories, Joy essentially causes their expulsion from headquarters, symbolizing a breakdown in emotional integration. In real life, this happens when someone refuses to let certain emotions be part of their identity or experience, leading to emotional disconnection. And that's what will later cause Riley's emotional balance to be all out of whack. The reason why only sadness and joy are getting thrown out is because it reflects the core emotional struggle Riley is facing, which is her inability to reconcile these two emotions. Okay, so we have the core memories missing from their place, possibly symbolizing the beginning of an identity crisis, which essentially means losing touch with the parts of herself that made her who she was. The personality islands graying out might mean her core values being destabilized, a normal thing that happens when someone's emotional coping mechanisms fail. So when the self can't hold on to its old structures anymore, it leads to disorganization and crisis. I know it can sound and look alarming, but it's part of the ego restructuring process, where Riley has to go through this messy process to rebuild a more integrated and emotionally mature identity. It might seem unnecessarily hard, but hardships are needed as much as peace is needed, yeah.